Hello and welcome back to the Powered by Football Podcast Season 3. Insane to think about that I've been doing this for, this is my third year on the podcast, which is very, very terrifying to think about. And another thing that's very, very terrifying to think about is who we have on today's podcast with me, being our new co-host that we announced at the end of last year, which is Matt, and we also have Western Sydney Wanderers Ben Keyte to go through our season preview. Ben, how are you?
Hello, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, all right. Matt, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
So I guess before we get into our planned stuff, I think we can just sort of talk a bit more personally. How are we feeling ahead of the season, just, on a personal level?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to it.
It's a very detailed
Yeah,
answer from you.
very, very detailed there, Melo. It's very good.
I'm always very detailed. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty excited, Jax. Playing another season alongside yourself, of course. Trying a few different things at the Wanderers we are this season. See how that goes. But I'm also just excited to see all of the clubs, see what they've been working on in the off season. Obviously, this year is a World Cup year as well, so everyone's going to be sort of like pushing their stakes and their claims for, to be looked at by the national coach, to retain their spots in the World Cup team. Young kids pushing to try and get in the squad. So it's a very, very exciting year to be a part of pouchy football, I reckon, in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There'll be a lot of coverage of the World Cup as the year goes on. We are hoping to get an interview or two in there to talk about that. And also, as you saw with the Euros that were on last year, where we watched some games and had a bit of a laugh, we might try and get that back up if the time zones align, which I actually haven't checked out yet, but we can cross our fingers and hope. That is the plan for the World Cup this season. Speaking of pouchy football on an international scale, Ben's a bit of a traveller, as we've spoken about on this podcast in previous times. Ben, you've been over to England a few times now. I remember we spoke to you before you came over, or before you went over. So how's it been over there?
It's been bloody cold, to be honest, to start with. It's been very cold. But other than that, it's been amazing. So since August, I think it was when we spoke, Jackson, maybe before that, I've been over 3 times to Europe. So August, October, and December. Played about 14 or 15 matches.
Yeah, wow.
Over in the National League, so I guess their equivalent of like EPL. And I've also played a few matches in the Regional League as well, which was a really good experience. So, no, it's been incredible being on the same court as some of the great England internationals, like Chris Gordon, Dan McClellan, John Boulding, Lewis Fisher, Marcus Harris, Dan Rigby, just incredible players. It's definitely eye-opening, very, very eye-opening, but also hopefully very good in terms of me being able to bring back some different skills and structures and processes that we can hopefully implement here back in Australia. Firstly at Wanderers, obviously where I play my club football for here. And then I've already seen sort of firsthand a bit the Australian squad is now starting to move towards different ways of playing and stuff too, which is very exciting to see as well. But yeah, overall an incredible experience, and definitely encourage any of our other boys or girls in Australia to, if they can, do this and financially have the opportunity to do it, well, it's definitely something they should look into doing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think one of the things you mentioned there was playing against, some of the best in the world players-wise. I know that before you went over to play in England, we had played against a handful of the names you mentioned at the Club World Cup. Could you tell a difference in how we played against them? What it's like for you playing against those guys as a Wanderers player compared to a GBG player?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So for me, right off the bat, the thing that I noticed and I realized, and I was like, whoa, this is real, when I got there was GBG, the team, GBG Knights, so Gloucester Knights, they were newly promoted to the National League this year. So they were runners-up in the Championship, so the second division. Scored a bag full of goals. Scored like 70-something goals in the season. We only conceded about 10 all season. And at the moment, after 2 rounds, so after, what was that, like after 9 or 10 games we've played, we're running 10th out of 12, which is good. Like, we've had some promising results the last weekend in December when I was over there. But I think for me, the biggest thing was just everyone can pass the ball. Everyone can pass the ball. Everyone knows their positioning quite well. The skill level over there is immense. The hours of training that they put in. When I went over there for a training camp for GBG, I got off the plane and about 3 or 4 days later, I was thrown into a 3-day training camp. And that 3-day training camp consisted of each day, we started training at 10. We trained for 2.5 hours at 10 till 12, 12:30. It was just skills based. So whether it be passing, whether it be set pieces, all of those kind of things. Learning their way of playing as well, which I'm still learning. It's very different to here in Australia. And then after that, we had about an hour lunch break. And then we went right into 3 games straight against other clubs. So Aston Villa came and trained and played friendlies with us one day. We had Aspire. So with John Boulding, Dan McClellan, John Dixon. Again, great world-class players. And that was a training camp. And we played 3 games in a row against them. 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
So from about 10 o'clock through till 4 or 5 was just football. It's just incredible, the intensity and the skill level and the concentration that you need to play at that level. And like very quickly I saw this is why England is so good. This is why, in my eyes, like maybe a little bit biased because I have fallen in love with England a bit and fallen in love with their game style and like the players over there and stuff. I do truly believe England are probably the one nation that could knock off France. I think France are the top at the moment in the world, but I think England, especially with some of their players that you guys haven't seen yet, their next generation, and the players that weren't quite used as much in Euros, are absolute guns. And we don't obviously know what France are going to bring or other nations either, but for me, that's what I felt different. And that compared to playing here at Wanderers and in our Premier League here, where, as we all know, like without being too critical, there's probably only maybe 2 or 3 real clubs probably in our whole country that nearly every player can really pass the ball and like create that sort of free-flowing passing game. Whereas most other clubs here in Australia, we've got maybe 2, if you're lucky, sometimes 3 players that can really dominate and run a team and play that kind of style. So that was the difference for me. Just like right through from the best team in England right through to the last team, they all play the same way. They all pass, can shoot. It's just literally then like the mentality and how well they execute is the difference between the top and the bottom teams.
Yeah, wow. It's absolutely so fascinating. I know a few of the boys back here in Sydney have watched you. We've all gotten on a call together on Discord and we've been watching your games, and it's just been insane to see the level that England uphold week on week or week on match week, because they're not playing weekly like we are back here. But like, you're doing some awesome stuff over there, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah,
it's exciting what you're bringing back and that sort of wisdom and stuff. So hopefully this continues for you.
Yeah, hopefully you can teach the Wanderers a thing or 2.
I hope so. Well, certainly against the Hills we will.
Yeah, thank you, Matt, for the first words you've said in about 10
Hey,
minutes.
Ben was talking. I was just enjoying it. I was just enjoying listening. That's all.
Yeah. Do you have any questions, Matt, to ask Ben?
Yeah, so you talked about how they've got 2 divisions over there, promotion and relegation. Can you give us a bit more insight into how exactly that works? So what clubs get promoted and what clubs get demoted every year?
Okay, so they've overall got like what they call the National League.
Mm-hmm.
So the National League is split into 2 divisions. So you've got the Premier League and you've got the Championship. So in each Premier League and Championship division, you've got 12 sides. So 12 teams compete in each division. Regarding the Championship, so the second division, if you come first or second, you are guaranteed automatic promotion up to Premier League. If you finish 11th or 12th, so the bottom two of Premier League, you're automatically relegated back to Championship. If you finish 10th place in Premier League...
It's a third last.
Third last, correct. If you come third last in Premier League, you then go into a playoff against third place in Championship in one game. That one game will then decide whether third last stays up in Premier League or third place in Championship gets promoted to Premier League.
And how often does the third place team from the Championship win those playoffs? Is that something that can happen occasionally, or?
I mean, it definitely can happen. To be honest, I don't know the history of that, like how often that's happened or not. I know this year, though, the 10th place beat the third place finisher of Championship. At the moment, GBG, my team, we're at 10th right now. So at the moment, we are in that playoff spot. So we are going to be pushing hard to get a few more points to hopefully push up to 9th or better, which will guarantee safety for us for next season. For us coming into this season was really the big aim on target, being a newly promoted team. The first thing we want to do is
stay up,
secure your safety, staying up. Exactly right. So we're close to achieving that, but still not quite there. Unfortunately, we had a few results that didn't quite go our way. Whilst I said in December we had some promising results and we got our first win, and we got a draw against West Brom, which is
you've drawn against them twice, I believe.
We drew against them last weekend in regionals as well. Yes. I wasn't there for that. So we have drawn against West Brom the last two games, and they've got players like Chris Gordon and Ollie Rock and very good, high-quality players. So I think for me, the thing with our team at the Knights is our consistency. So we've proven that we can match it with top teams, but sometimes when we play against the lower-ranked teams where really we should be winning, we should be picking up draws at the minimum. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's not happened for us for a number of reasons. So it's very important we look at our consistency and like moving out into the back end of the season. Those points could be very crucial based on the teams around us as well. So yeah, it's very exciting. It basically means, you can't just like sit on your laurels and come last and just be like, oh, well, we'll just worry about next season, knowing that you're still going to be guaranteed to play there. Whereas this, you're not. So every game, every point, every draw means something. Even a loss can come down to goal difference. So, like, really, really got to scrap for everything over there.
How many games do you guys have left for the comp?
I think we have about 12 or 13 games left.
Wow.
So it's a 22-match league.
So you play each team twice?
Play each team twice, yeah. So we've played 9 matches so far. So we played 4 the first round and then 5 in December in the Premier League. So that's 9 matches so far. So we've got 13 matches left.
They're monthly game weeks, right? So you get together once a month and play, 4 or 5 games.
So not quite once. So this season, it's October we went. October was round like League 1. December was League 2. Now February, so next week is round 3. So after our first round.
Yeah, okay.
Back here home. And then March and April. So February, March and April is all very close together. I'm not going April because we've got our nationals here. So I've committed to my club back home for nationals. But yeah, looking forward to the next 2 English rounds and hopefully helping the boys secure our safety for the following season.
Yeah, sounds good.
So yes, we've sort of hit a lot of the pointers, but Ben, is there anything else you wanted to touch on of your time in England, of the training, the caliber, the players, any of it before we move on?
No, really. I think it's just been an amazing experience, and I'm very, very grateful that I'm in the position I am, doing what I'm doing and doing what I love, and being able to bring it back home. And in honesty, and it's probably a nice segue for us to move into the preview of this season. This is probably the most excited I've been for a lot of years, coming in off and off season and moving into our season here at home. Because we've been playing a lot of football and really want to get back into playing here in Australia and hopefully applying those skills and stuff that I've hopefully developed and still developing and learning, and bring it back here and help our boys back home go a little bit higher up the ladder than what we have been
emphasis
lately.
On hopefully.
Hopefully. Well, you don't want to sound too confident, but I'm quietly confident we can move up a bit, but we'll see. Depends on Jackson Taylor.
Ah, yes, I see how it is. Pin it back on one of the co-hosts of the Powered by Football podcast, who is going to have to take all accountability because he is the one distributing said podcast and telling everyone about said results. So,
yes.
in other words...
Well, no, I also have to take accountability now as well.
Yeah, so
but
now
I can just. But
you.
technically, you have all the logins, so I'm just here.
You're just here.
I'm just kind of here.
Matt's the personality hire.
They needed someone who could actually count past 5.
Yeah. You're just here and queer. Here and queer. Let's move on.
The first thing that is more relevant to the New South Wales season that I thought we should touch on is some of the rule changes that have occurred from last season. So myself and Matt were both a part of a rules committee that was formed at the end of last year to try and reconstruct how the rules were going to work within the New South Wales competition, just to try and benefit it as much as possible. The main change, I think the one that's worth the most discussion, is the way with which player, like the lockout rule, which was existent, which was around last year, how that's handled. You may remember last year, the rule being if a player who is classified as reserve or in like a middle tier played over 10 minutes in 10 separate Premiership games, they would be locked out from the Championship. And the new rules brought in state that it's now in both halves rather than that 10-minute number. So that's the aim, is to just, try and improve the opportunities for players whilst also having some sense of control. Before we move on, Matt, do you want to just touch on a bit of your experience that you had in the rules committee and sorting all of this out?
Yeah, so I think the one thing the 5 of us all kind of identified is that the rule as it stood essentially was significantly hampering the development of players within the competition. Because the last thing we want to do is telling teams which players can and can't play the sport, basically. What we aimed to do was make sure that there's less limits in place for players to play, basically. We want as many people playing as much time as possible, basically. We completely removed the requiring 3 named players at the start of every game. So you had to name 3 players at the start of the game, and they couldn't play reserves and had to play the first half of the Premier League game. That rule has been scrapped.
Because that was like a safety thing as well as a team management thing, I believe.
Yes.
So now that we've sort of gone through these rule changes and stuff, I think we'll move on to, we're going to do a couple of predictions and stuff, throw some thoughts out there in the Championship first. I'm of the belief that I think Sydney will retain their title. I think with just the team that they've got and the depth that they've got, I think they've got the best squad depth probably out of the competition, of players that can play, in the Premiership that are also Championship level and can float around. I think their strength in numbers is going to help them out a lot. I'm going to predict an almost identical outcome to last season. I think there's not much movement when it comes to the Championship recruitment-wise. I know Wanderers have picked up one young kid, Misha, who, from what I saw at training yesterday, it's all right. I know you guys, Matt, you've picked up a few.
We've got a new guy named Reese. First time he ever got into a chair was at one of our training sessions. He looks good. It's always good to get new people in.
Other than that, I think that third place spot is very contentious between St. George and Wanderers. I think last season the Wanderers did put up a good fight, but due to the lockout rule preventing both myself and Jono from putting a couple extra minutes in to change some results, and also, a bit of bad luck here and there, we were not able to get third. I do think that it'll stay that way. I think I don't know, I see a season in them. I don't know why. Just a hunch. I'd see us pushing them a lot closer, though, this season, just developing that. The player in me is saying fingers crossed, and the unbiased podcasting guy is saying let's just hope for an entertaining season. do have Newcastle in last. I think, unfortunately, the development is not quite there yet. I do believe that the improvement I saw at the end of the season from Newcastle compared to the start was phenomenal. Matt, you can say the same, I'm sure.
Yeah, they looked really good towards the end of the season.
I think, hopefully they can get a couple of points on the board this season, because obviously when you're in that sort of development stage and seeing some of the numbers, it is a bit disheartening. So hopefully it's all up for Newcastle this season in the Championship. We'll transition over to the Premiership now, and if you had any money on us not predicting Newcastle to win, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, it's got to
yeah.
be. Newcastle are probably going to be the favourites every year for a very long time, so we'll see what happens.
They're a phenomenal squad, and I think their Premiership team will very likely win this season's Premiership. I think whilst Sydney were able to get some good results against them last year, I think it's not quite time for another team to take their place. Speaking of Sydney, I do think that they are going to be the second place team. I believe they got second last year, did they not, Matt?
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
St George got third, Wanderers fourth, Hills fifth.
Yeah, Hills got fifth last year, Matt. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, okay, just thought I'd remind you. I've seen, obviously, these kids are working really, really hard at the moment. I've been speaking to a lot of them, and they're all really driven to continue to improve. Whilst I don't think they're going to pip Newcastle just yet, I can see them building up and maybe getting a win against Newcastle in the season. I think they will be getting second once again. We're going to roll back to about a minute ago when we were talking about Hills' season. I've changed some things around. It's not identical to last season in my predictions. I've predicted Hills to get third. You want to tell us why that is?
So I'm assuming this is the part where I announce that Abdullah Karim will be playing for us this year.
That was a great announcement, by the way. We've seen the influence that Abs can have on some matches, so I think presence into a Hills team who I have seen a lot of promise from last season, I think that'll just lift them up even more and give them a bit more depth as well. So I do think that they will be able to give a good recollection of themselves and get into third place in the Premiership.
Anything better than last place is an achievement for us. It'll be fun. I think we've improved significantly to where we finished the year last year. In terms of the way we played, we just could never get out of our own half. Our defense was great, but when you defend for 35 minutes, you're gonna concede goals, and against teams that can actually score against you, you're gonna get pulled apart, and that's exactly what teams like the Newcastle Jets did to us. We can defend, but not for like 40 minutes. You don't win football games by defending for 40 minutes.
Now, moving on, we have got the Western Sydney Wanderers in fourth. I would love to be saying we are going to win every game. I would love to be saying we're getting first by a mile. Unbiased journalism person in me has to separate myself from the Wanderers player and say, I see potential, I see growth in this team. This will be a bit of a year of discovery for the Wanderers and just learning a bit more. He's bringing a lot back from England that we're going to learn, and I think it may not click straight away, but we'll get better by the end of the season. I don't know if that's going to be enough to pip Hills this season, but in the future, I think there is a lot of potential in this team. So that is what I have got for the Wanderers. Ben, do you want to yell at me? This is your time to get your anger out.
I'll wait until I go through my predictions.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, my predictions were basically the same as Jackson's.
And obviously, you want to talk about St. George, Jackson?
You can work out that St. George are in last in my predictions. I respect that they've got a good team regardless of Abs. I think having that player that can make or break a game in an instant. We've seen Abs score pivotal goals in stressful moments, and losing a player that can flip a game on its head like that, I think will impact them. To my knowledge, I don't know what has sort of happened to counter that. I think it's just going to be a year of hard training and a bit of let's just give our best account and hope for the best for St. George. But regardless, that is the order of the 5 that I have for this season. Ben, I know you have some thoughts, so this is where I hand over to you.
Go to me. Okay, so I think first, before I give my prediction, I think, as I said before, I think this season is going to be. I actually got a feeling this season can be one of the tightest seasons we've seen for quite a while. I really believe that. Obviously, I think we've probably all can sort of see maybe some obvious things within the league, but I do think there's going to be a few surprises as well. Obviously, the announcement that Matt just made, which really is the worst kept secret in Powership football, of Abdullah going to Hills, that's going to add a lot to Hills. I'm really excited to see how that works for them and how Abs can potentially play in a structure. Being an ex-teammate of Abs at Western Sydney, and we've probably all been ex-teammates of Abs at some point in our careers.
Yep.
We probably all know that Abs, let's be honest, Abs in Australia right now, I still think, hands down, is probably one of the best players we've got in the country in terms of someone who has that raw X factor and that raw ability to make something from absolutely nothing.
I agree.
Can just play on instinct and just see things that before they already happen and just pulls a spin kick from anywhere on the field or a majestic pass through two defenders. I don't think anyone in this country can match that. I think the big thing with Abs moving to Hills is going to be how Abs can rein that in and play in a very, very heavily structured teams coached by Dr. Mellows. That is what I'm very, very interested to see and how that works. If it works, it could be a stroke of genius, in all honesty. If it works, well, my predictions will change from what I'm about to say. If it doesn't work, well, it probably will stay as is, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that makes sense.
So, for me on top, now you boys were very quick to go Newcastle Jets. Very quick. Very quick to go the Jets.
Yes.
I've been toing and throwing between Jets and Sydney FC. So I'm going to put Newcastle 1 and Sydney 2. And the reason why, I'm going to tell you guys the reason why. I feel Jets are still going to be number 1. And I feel Jets are simply going to be number 1 still because of their experience. I think experience wins out against youth at the moment. If you look at the Jets side, they've got Shannon and Lazar, who was a Power Roos squad member. They've got Chris Hastis, a.k.a. Harry Potter, current Power Roos player. Ryan Seck, arguably probably one of the most consistent and best Powership footballers we've got in Australia right now.
And
also
current
current
international.
And vice captain, and just an absolute genius when it comes to algorithms and such things. Captain of the Newcastle Jets and captain of Australia, Dimitri Leolio Davis. I don't think you can go anywhere in Australia where any club, arguably maybe Melbourne City, but that's another story, that has a better and most balanced starting 4 than what Newcastle Jets have. For me, that wins out. However, Sydney, I think, are hungry. They are very, very hungry little boys. And they are going to shock people. They've already picked up a win against Jets last season.
2, I believe.
2 wins, exactly. That's even more. They've already proven they can beat that lineup. They can beat that lineup. They've done it more than once. They've done it twice. They came very close at Nationals, I believe, if my memory's correct. I think the league will be decided in the last 2 rounds this season.
You think so? You think it'll be that close?
Between Sydney and Newcastle. I think it could be that close.
I hope it'll be that close.
I feel Sydney consistently will have the wood over the 3 remaining teams. So I believe it is a straight shootout between Sydney and Newcastle. And I don't see a lot of difference besides mistakes. That's where I'm saying the experience is going to be crucial when it comes to this season. And at the moment, you got to put experience down to Jets. Level heads. They've all been playing together for multiple years. They're very, very, very well coached there by Cameron. I went and trained with Newcastle a little bit in the off-season. And the way he runs his sessions and runs that club, I very easily see why they are always up the top in New South Wales and Nationals. I think they're going to be on the top. Sydney a very, very, very close second. After that, in all honesty, I think the third to fifth, I think, is quite open. I'd say between us and Hills, I think on any day, either of us could beat each other. I think there'll be quite a few draws between us, to be honest, as well. As I said, I've already spoken about Hills, Maddie. Like, I'm really excited to see what you guys do. As you know, you've played for us. Like, I really hope you do well and play well for your season, and good dad coach as well. And yeah, really interested to see how Karim fits in with you guys. I'm extremely excited about our prospects at Western Sydney. As I said, without giving away too much, but Matty, you probably know a little bit because we scrimmaged on Thursday night together. We're definitely trying to implement a different way and different structure of playing and people in different positions that we've not tried yet. And I think, Jackson, what you said was key for us in terms of how well and how quick we start the season. It could go to absolute rubbish. I was going to say another word, but I remember children were listening. It could go to absolute rubbish, in all honesty, at the start of the season for us. But it could also just click. We don't know. Could also not click at all. And I think that's the really exciting thing that both our clubs in Western Sydney and Hills have to look forward to is the unknown. I honestly believe if Hills, talking about Hills again, if Hills click and connect with Abs from the get-go, I wouldn't be surprised if Hills are up there for second place as well. As Matt said, they are very, very structured. They've got a tight defence with you, Matty, at back, and I'm assuming probably Abs will probably be defending with you. You don't have to obviously say yes or no, but I'm assuming that will probably be the go. Or if not, Asim Soti, and he was very good with you as well. So it's just more your attacking, see how well you can gel quickly and what you can do against the likes of Newcastle and Sydney. And I think it's the same for us as well. Unfortunately, I think the loss of Abs for St. George is going to be felt pretty hard, and that's no disrespect to the players that are left there. They've still got a lot of experience, and Chris Turnbull, who up until recently was the most capped Poweroo, so that's something that shouldn't be ignored. He's got a lot of wealth of experience, and Jordan Crane as well. He has a lot of experience. Jake Vidakovic. I think Jake, for me, is an interesting one. Jake is someone who I don't feel he's reached his potential as a power chip footballer.
He does have a lot of potential.
I see is someone who really could run a team, and he really could be that middle person, whether it be for St. George now. I think it's a perfect opportunity, in all honesty, for St. George to throw someone like Jake, maybe Mitch, but I think Jake, in all honesty, throw Jake in the middle and have Jake just run the team and, be okay with the results. Look at it very much as a growing year, development year for Jake and Mitch and Ruby. Finn, that's what I'm thinking. Finn, they got a few players there that really could develop into something quite special, I feel. I think right now it's too early for them. The other four clubs all have too much experience, I feel, over them. Whilst I did say Turnbull and Crane have a lot of experience, don't quite think that will be enough, unfortunately. So I think they will be in the fifth spot. I think third and fourth is up for grabs between Western Sydney and Hills. And yeah, first and second is very close. I think, go back to Sydney. I'm all over the place here. The one thing that I think could be very crucial that could push Sydney into realms or positions we've not seen before is their depth. I agree with you, Jackson, when you said earlier, Sydney by far have the greatest depth as a whole club in our competition. I think that is something that holds them in extremely good stead moving forward. But at the same time, I know I've spoken to their coach, Jason Ryan. I know it's a big headache for Jason. It's a good headache, but it's also a big headache because he has players that from now in the next 12 to 18 months are going to be pushing for Premier League spots and wanting Premier League minutes. Eventually, something's got to give in that club, whether that's some Premier League players move aside, move to other clubs. I know, and he'll be happy with me saying it like this. He said it himself, Chris Sutfield is probably towards the end of his career right now in the Premier League side, so that's going to open up a spot for Sydney moving forward. They just got so many players, and it's just I think if not this year, I think next year could well and truly be Sydney's year in the top flight. which is exciting for them. Not so much for us as Wanderers players, but they've definitely worked hard and have deserved where they are. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting moving forward. But yeah.
Now that we've gone through sort of table predictions, all that sort of stuff, do you guys have any personal predictions for your own performances this season?
Personal predictions for me, I guess. I definitely like to be a bit more consistent on the scoring sheets. I was pretty disappointed last season with I think I ended up only netting about 3 or 4 goals.
You would have had one more if I didn't steal it from you.
That's 3 or 4 more than I scored, Ben. Don't worry.
Yeah, so I don't know, but for someone who is a striker, that's disappointing in all honesty. But again, in the new structure we're playing, may change things around with that too. But I think overall, I would just love to put in week out solid performances and leave the field and the ground, stadium, court, whatever you want to call it, knowing that I've put in a good shift for the team. I've led well. I'm vocal. I've helped positively contribute to the performance. And yeah, overall, just as a team, I'd love us to move up that ladder. We got 4th, which overall, Jackson, we probably were pretty disappointed with our results last season. We had some really promising ones towards the end of the year, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Beat St. George. We really were unlucky to not get points against Sydney and Newcastle in some of our games towards the end of last season.
Giving away an equalising penalty in the 40th minute as a coach killer.
For me, I think it's really important that we take those as real positives, and we know what we can do. We just got to do it and deliver it on the day. I don't know. Matt, what about you? Have you thought about anything yet or no?
Yeah. So I think the season could go one of two ways. This is either going to be the season with the least amount of goals scored, or the season with the most amount of goals scored by a significant margin. And I'm not saying that there's going to be blowouts. What I'm saying is there could be potentially a fair few games that finish 5-4 or something like that.
I agree.
So I feel like there's either a lot of goals scored or a lot of 0-all draws or 1-0 wins, and there's not going to be a whole lot of goals scored.
Matt, at the end of the season, as our registered statistician,
that is me.
I will make sure that I hold you accountable. We will chat about this at a later date and see if we're right or wrong. I actually have a prediction for Ben rather than myself for this season.
That he's going to score a hat-trick?
Here we go.
Ben, I predict that your chair isn't going to break once this season.
It already has.
Jackson.
It's done it at training. That doesn't count. It's already happened.
Now that you said that, you have mocked me. You've put the mocker on me, Jackson. Oh.
That's fine.
Right.
Well, you're only onto your second joystick since
Well, it's a funny story. My day chair is broken as well, so
I heard about that.
I'm actually onto my 3rd joystick in 6 weeks.
I'm
going well. What about question? Sorry, I know it's not my podcast, but just a question for you fellas. I'd like to know, who are you excited as an individual? You can't pick anyone in your team.
Who am I excited to see as an individual?
Yes. Who are you excited to see play this season? Who will be a standout for you?
I'd like to see how Daniel O'Brien does. We didn't get to see a lot of him last year, but when he was on the field, I mean, he was the leading goal scorer until he needed his back surgery, and he was still top 3, top 5 goal scorers by the end of the season.
I think he still got 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, and I think he played 2 games in the entirety of the last half of the season. I don't think he scored in either of them. Where would Sydney have been last year if he hadn't had needed surgery? That is what it is.
Daniel's definitely high up on that list for me. What happens with him this season, how he adapts to playing post-surgery. I know that's a big thing that a lot of us have to figure out, and I have a lot of confidence in him to have a good season in this new sphere for him. I also think, Matt, on your team, Asim is a really, really exciting player. I see a lot in him. He's one of the most intelligent players I've spoken to in a while. He's watching games in his own time, and he's just nitpicking everything, and I think he's got a big future ahead of him.
Yeah, I agree.
Ben, you want to throw someone out?
Yeah, so my players to watch, Riley Brown from FC is someone who I'm very, very interested to see how he progresses. He scored 28 goals in Championship Scored a number of goals also in Premier League.
Scored that goal against Melbourne at Nationals.
Scored the goal against the Melbourne. He also scored that goal against you, Jackson, I remember.
He's very good at scoring against me. I'm not hard to score past.
He almost broke your ankles. He made you look a bit silly, in all honesty.
Look, I respect it.
Yes. So I didn't at the time, sorry, but, I'm very interested to see Riley, see how Riley goes. I hope and would love to see Riley get some more opportunities up in Prems. I think he definitely deserves it. I think it would be great for his development. I think he has a lot to offer. And I think it'll be really good to see how he goes from a very, very, very successful season to now being that player that everyone's probably looking at. Other opposition are going to be watching him a lot harder now because they know he can finish. They know he's got a good spin kick. They know he can pass. He's got a great finish on him for such a young kid. He's someone I'm really excited to see. And the other player I'm excited to see, we've mentioned him numerous times already on this episode, but he's somebody we just need to talk about all the time, is Abdullah Karim. People be like, why? Why do we want to see Abs? We already know what Abs delivers. I'm interested in watching what Abs does because Abs has a lot to prove. Let's not sugarcoat it. We all know Abs got dropped from the national squad. First time in a long, long time that a player of like Abs's skill level and ability, first time he's been dropped from a national side for a long, long time. Probably the first time it's actually happened in his career for the Asia Cup. And Australia went on to win that Asia Cup without Abs. So I think I'm really interested to see how hungry Abs is to come back and show the coaching staff, Robbie and Cameron and Mick Sutfield, show all of them that, they made a mistake. Show them that he's still here. Show all of us, other players, Matt obviously as his teammate, show all of us that he's still here and he wants to play and he's hungry for it. And does he or doesn't he want another shot of that national side? Whether he gets it or not, well, that's above my pay grade. I don't get paid very much these days, but yeah, it's not so much for me what he does as a skill. We all know what Abs can do. We all know what he can bring. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where his hunger is and what his motivation is. Moving clubs and seeing where his head's at. Really, I think it's a story that can be very, very interesting to follow this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be interesting to see how he adapts to that Hills side. And obviously, Matt, you can't, say absolutely everything. I'm sure there's some, internal tactics that we're not privy to, but it'll be very exciting.
How are you feeling, Matt, about Abs?
I'm feeling good.
How are you feeling about Abs coming in? Obviously, without giving too much away, but are you can go into it as much as you want or not at all, but where do you think Abs' head is at right now? You've probably already, you and your dad, Dr. Miller's probably been having conversations with Abs and talking about this year and, you've started training and things like that. So, like, where do you see Abs fitting in and, like, how do you think his mindset is right now with Pouch football?
I think it's pretty good. I think, like you said, he's got a bit of a point to prove, being left out of the Aussie side. So he's looking forward to playing with the guys. He continuously messages me about how excited he is. So, and I think he'll add a lot up front for us, which is an area we sorely lacked last year because we just could never get our own half and we could never really get shots on goal. And that's just not something that you're going to be able to win football games. If that's the kind of stuff that you're doing, that's where he'll add the most to our team, is being able to push forward and get us into those positions where we can actually create something up front. So that's what we're all most excited to have him on board.
Yeah.
But also, I think a lot of the guys are looking forward to learning off him, seeing how he plays, how he moves around, because he's one of the most naturally gifted football players I've ever seen in the sport. So I think if everyone can learn a thing or two off him this year for our team, I think everyone in our team will be better for it. So that's another thing that everyone else is looking forward to.
That's a decent, bit of an overview, I think, to what this season lies ahead. Before we wrap up, guys, is there anything else we want to throw out into the ether before we close up shop for today?
Not that I can think of.
Gonna be a tough season. Looking forward to it. Kicks off obviously next week. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be here with you boys today.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Absolutely. To correct Ben, for those listening, it'll be this Saturday by the time you're hearing this. We're recording it the Friday before it comes out. But otherwise, very fun to be back into the swing of things and expect some great stuff from us this season. I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope that you guys are too.
We're having a good time.
Without further ado, we will hand over to the end card. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next time when the season has begun.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
You can get involved in Powership football here in New South Wales as an athlete, coach, referee, or volunteer by visiting the New South Wales Powership football website linked below. Our season takes place in Glenwood at the Valentine Sports Park from the 14th of February 2026 to the 25th of July 2026 every Saturday. Contact info@nswpfa.org.au for more information.
And if you'd like to get in touch with the podcast, you can follow us at Powered by Football Pod on Instagram, join our Facebook group, Powered by Football Podcast, or follow our Twitter account at Powered by Pod. Thank you for listening.